What is going on, everybody? It is Dylan with Astrodfs bringing you a brand new video. Today's video, I am going over the week 15 now, Sunday slate. Not 11 games anymore. A couple games postponed, making more football during the week, which I'm all for. So let's get into it. I will break down cash plays at each position and throw some GPP plays in as well. So if you guys are kind of on the fence of who to play for tomorrow, or you have no idea, or you just want to make sure that somebody else is targeting these players or not targeting these players, I'll be that guy for you. So let's get into the quarterbacks. Josh Allen, 8,100 against Carolina. Although Josh Allen is Josh Allen, a couple things that worry me. One, you're playing against Carolina defense, which has had bad games, but overall, their secondary is pretty good. Josh Allen had the boot on. Without the boot, he could go off for 20 plus points. I just don't think the two things of him being banged up and a pretty good secondary that I'm willing to take the risk on, especially with the two guys below him, I like a lot more. You get Kyler Murray against Detroit, 7,900 without D-Hop, but he does get Chase Edmonds back, it looks like. So Kyler Murray at 79, great play in my opinion. Aaron Rodgers against Baltimore. If Lamar's out, even if Lamar's in, you get Aaron Rodgers against one of the worst secondaries, and it has nothing to do with them just being badly coached. It's just their talent is injured. And you get Aaron Rodgers 7,500. He's got both his running backs healthy, but at 7,500 against a team that can compete. If Lamar's in, the team can compete. And against a team like Green Bay, whose secondary doesn't give up a lot of passing, they have sometimes, but they do give up a lot of rushing, and that's what Baltimore does. So if Lamar plays, I think you like Aaron Rodgers a lot more. Lamar's out. It's a little worrisome that the Baltimore offense can't move, even though they did against Cleveland's defense, which was impressive. But still, Cleveland's offense only put up 27 points. So, yeah. Dak against the Giants. I like to play Dak. I really do. I played him last week. I played him in previous weeks. We can go and look at his fantasy numbers. 22 for 39, 211, a touchdown and a pick against a Washington defense that was pretty bad. It's just that they ran the ball and they were efficient running, which they have been all season. Zeke is healthy in this game. Tony Pollard, you're going to have to watch the injury news to see if he is playing or not. But it should be a good game for Dak. Not one of the better cash quarterbacks. He's more of a GPP, but I am throwing him out there. And then you get some value. You definitely get some value here this week. You get Jimmy Garoppolo against Atlanta at 5,800. They're not a huge passing team, but you have Jeff Wilson and JaMychal Hasty again. Elijah Mitchell is out. And you get someone like Deebo Samuel, who apparently is a running back wide receiver. Got to watch the news on him. It looks like he's going to play from what I've seen. But Jimmy Garoppolo, 5,800 against a terrible Atlanta team. And then you get Tua. Now, the thing that worries me with Tua is Jalen Waddle's out, but you still get Devontae Parker. And we will talk about Devontae Parker here shortly, but does appear to be in a great matchup against the Jets. You do have a sample with Tua. Week 11 here against the Jets, 18 fantasy points. So nothing huge, but not bad either. He's $200 more than week 11 against the Jets, and they win 24-17. Other than that, you get Matt Ryan against San Fran at 53 as a GPP. Trevor Lawrence against Houston at 5,100 as a GPP. But that's pretty much it. Those would be the only people. If Lamar's out, Huntley, you can maybe throw in some GPPs, but that would be it. Ben against Tennessee, I just don't trust Big Ben, especially fantasy point wise. Seen him play pretty consistent, nothing under 10 fantasy points, but he never really explodes either. You get Minnesota and Chargers, 22 and 28, but someone like Big Ben and the weapons he should put up more. Then you get the running backs. Najee Harris, 7,800 here against Pittsburgh, or against Tennessee, I'm sorry. and I'm not totally sold on it yet. I do like Nahaji for just the workhorse he is, which is never a bad play, and him being the most expensive running back at 7,800 is ridiculous. Can't remember the last time we've seen this on a main slate, the top running back under 8K. So I do like it. I'd probably like it a lot more for GPPs than cash. I'm probably going to stay away from him in cash. Ezekiel Elliott here, 7,300 against the Giants. I do like it, especially if Tony Pollard's out. I do like Zeke a lot. He's not the best play, but if Tony Pollard's out, I think Zeke definitely becomes someone to look at. Keep going down, and as you can see, there is a lot of outs, postpones, and it gets really hectic. To see James Conner and Chase Edmonds, they said both appear to are expected to play. DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams are both out, so you get the crazy Detroit backfield against Arizona, which is Elijah Mitchell I mentioned is out. Javonte and Melvin Gordon both expected to play, the last report, and Tony Pollard is a true questionable. Tony Pollard's in. You like Tony Pollard against the Giants here at 5,800. I think it's a good play. Melvin Gordon, Javonte, you like both of them. They're obviously putting more importance on running the ball than passing. So both those guys, just watching the injury news there. And then we go down to Myles Gaskin. This is where we find this, majority of the value this week. Myles Gaskin, 5,600. We saw what he did against the Jets here. Week 11, 18.6 fantasy points. You get him $100 cheaper this week than he did in Week 11. And there's injuries in the Miami backfield. So we can see Philip Lindsay, not there. Brown, not there. You get Ahmad back, and you look at what Ahmad's done lately with what he's got. It's not a lot. 8 attempts, 23 yards, just yards per carry. Myles Gaskin has stepped up, and he's got a good matchup here against the Jets. Then you get Devontae Freeman, 5,500 against Green Bay. Green Bay's rush defense, I mean, you could look at it still giving up over 105 yards a game. But Baltimore is one of the best run teams in the league, and especially with all the injuries on Green Bay. Little question marks. Now, he's not one of my more favorite plays, but I still would maybe consider playing him in cash. And then you get James Robinson, 5,400, is going to be the most owned running back this week, and rightfully so. Carlos Hyde is out. We all know Urban Meyer's gone. 5,400 is ridiculous price for James Robinson. Look at his prices all this year. 57, 58. You don't ever get him this cheap. And he gets Houston. Week 1 against Houston, when they didn't use him. I believe he only had 2 carries in the first half and only ends. Yeah, that's not going to happen. You're going to get the James Robinson right around here. You're going to get the James Robinson from last year that they just fed him the ball. They're going to do it. Houston's a bad defense. We all know it. They just don't have pieces. It's bad. James Robinson, play him. If he goes off, you get the points. If he doesn't, he's going to be highly owned. It's not going to bite you in the ass. Some of the other plays, Jeff Wilson, I am going to play for cash. I do like Jeff Wilson this week. I know I've got burnt by Jeff Wilson. Trust me. I don't like saying this proudly, but Jeff Wilson against Atlanta, we've seen him, Jacksonville, definitely disappointed here, but he faces the Rams. He faces a semi-decent team in Cincinnati, but he doesn't get the receptions. That's JaMychal Hasty. JaMychal Hasty can easily take over too, but I do want to at least try to get back to Jeff Wilson here. As far as ownership, with Jeff Wilson, he's a top 10 owned running back, but I still like him for the price. We go down, Michael Carter, 4,700 back. I'm huge on him. I'm totally okay with playing him. Week 11, he exits Miami, 9 for 63. A 2-yard reception, 7.5 fantasy points. 4,700 is just a crazy price. If you need to pay down at running backs, which you easily could, you go James Robinson, you go Michael Carter. I'll just plug it in, just show an example really quick of what you can create with that. You go up to 5,700 for the average. With them 2 out, you're at 55. So pretty good value there. Now we go to wide receivers. Obviously, Cooper Kupp's games move. Devontae Adams, 8,900 against Baltimore. If you like Aaron Rodgers, like I like Aaron Rodgers. For DFS, other than that, I hate the Packers. But 8,900 Devontae Adams here against, like I mentioned, a bad Baltimore secondary. Best play, I would pay up for him. If you're not paying up for a running back, which you don't have to, Devontae is probably a guy that you want to pay up to. If not, you have Debo here against Atlanta. Another great play. I'm going to stay away from Stephon Diggs. He just hasn't done it for me at all this year, fantasy-wise. So I'm going to stay away. Deontay Johnson here, 7,500 against Tennessee. A target machine. I do mean that. Just a target machine. 7,500 I think is a fair price. I know he's higher than he really has been all season. But really good matchup here against Tennessee, so I love that play. CeeDee Lamb, I will never say no to CeeDee Lamb no matter what. Even some of his bad weeks, I will still play CeeDee Lamb. Week 5, you see him against the Giants, 18.8. So, granted, he was a lot cheaper there, so it brings some question marks. Jalen Waddle, that news is kind of huge. Devontae Parker, talk about him in a second. Amari Cooper, I do also like. I do like T. Higgins. If I were to play a Cincinnati wide receiver, would be Jamar Chase, although I do like T. Higgins quite a bit. We keep going down the list. Chase Claypool. If you want to get some exposure in that Pittsburgh-Tennessee game, where Pittsburgh's it seems amazing on paper. Chase Claypool, 5,900. I think it's a fair price to pay for him. Brandon Cooks against Jacksonville. We've seen what Brandon Cooks has been able to do. Week 14, you get to see the Davis Mills version of Brandon Cooks getting the targets, and we saw what he did week 1 against Jacksonville as well. So it's a lot of good liking, in my opinion, and his price is very good for some of the games he's put up. Russell Gage is just he's becoming, it looks like the last 4 weeks, becoming a very good fantasy play. I'm personally going to stay away from him, though. I would like to play him. I definitely think he's playable in GPPs, but cash, I'm probably going to stay away. And then we get some good value here. We get Julio Jones, 5,400 against Pittsburgh. Another disappointing play if you played him last week against Jacksonville. 6 targets, 33 yards. He just did not get on the field that much. And rightfully so, they're winning the game. They just got Julio back. They don't need him hurt. They need him for the rest of the season to get in the playoffs. For the playoffs, they need Julio. So, in a game like this where they need to win, Julio is probably a good play here. The matchup looks really good, and the price is amazing. And then we go to Christian Kirk, 5,300. I'm playing Kirk over Green. I will let AJ Green bite me in the ass, and I do think that he is a better receiver than Christian Kirk. Amazes me that they have all that talent there, but Christian Kirk, I do like his matchup a lot more, and I do like the potential that he has, the deep targets that he can have. Someone like him and Rondell Moore, very interesting to me. But AJ Green is probably a more dependent receiver. I just like Christian Kirk for the higher ceiling. Jameson Crowder, 5,000 against Miami last week. One of the most disappointing chalk plays. If you played him, I did not. I stayed away. I do think he's in a better matchup here against Miami. Yet again, you see what he does week 11 against Miami. 16.4 fantasy points. I would play him in cash. He's not one of my more favorite plays, but I would play him. Marvin Jones Jr. actually is a play that I really like this season. Earlier in the season, we saw Marvin Jones look like a receiver you had to roster if you hit him on fantasy lines, and definitely play in DFS, especially for his salary. Now, week 1, 3,618. Yes, I get that. He's back down to 4,600. Last week we saw him at 45. Puts up 13 fantasy points. They are free of Urban Meyer. We're going to see Marvin Jones should be their red zone guy if it's not James Robinson. So 4,600, good matchup here against Houston. I do really like Marvin Jones Jr. Rondell Moore, I mentioned, I do like here at 4,400. But Devontae Parker is probably going to be the guy that you get to at 4,300 against Miami, or against the Jets. He plays for Miami. We did not get to see him play the Jets, but what we have seen him all season is his fantasy points. 8.2, 9.2, and 10-plus point games, and his price. So the games that he really bites you in the ass is the 54, 55. 55 here still gets you 12, but the last 2 games he's played, 4,900 and 3,900, produces those points. He's 4,300 against a very bad Jets team. Now, there still is a lot of value plays here. Westbrook, I'm not too high on. I do like Allen Lazard here, 4,000 if you do like Green Bay. Gabriel Davis here, if Emmanuel Sanders is out. You like someone like Gabriel Davis just because of what he's been able to do through the air. A pretty good GPP play. Nico Collins is somebody that you should consider in GPPs. He's been their number 2 receiver. Now, it's not that promising, but I definitely think he's worth a look in GPPs. And then maybe Laquan Treadwell for GPPs, just another play. But other than that, I think the cheapest play that I go is probably Devontae Parker here at 4,300, and you don't really need to go any cheaper than that. You pay up for wide receiver or you pay up for tight end because you're paying down at running back. And George Kittle, 7,500, yes, like the play that I want at tight end, 7,500 George Kittle. Now, there is value, so if you do pay up and you get Devontae, Deontay, you get those 2 guys and you're paying a lot of salary for, and you can't really afford a tight end because you pay up a quarterback too, let's say, you're going to pay down at tight end and there's some plays. So George Kittle, I definitely love here at 7,500. Kyle Pitts, staying away. Zach Ertz, if he plays, I do really like Zach Ertz. And then Mike Gesicki, 5,000, probably one of the better plays here. Now, his price is a little worrisome being that high. We see when he does week 11 against the Jets, 10 fantasy points. But you got to remember Jalen Waddle's out and the ball has to go to somebody else. So Gesicki is one of those guys. We've seen Tua and Gesicki have a really good connection. So that's definitely a like there. You get Dalton Schultz right behind him at 4,900 as well. Another player that you like in a very good matchup here against the Giants. Other than that, like O'Shaughnessy, we've seen the slim numbers he's put up, but at 3,200, it's a good value play for a guy that's gotten 5 or more targets in every game that he hasn't gotten hurt in, which, you don't expect the yards, you don't expect the touchdowns. He's 3,200. You can't expect a lot, but he is there, and he is a play. Other than that, there's not a lot. There's not. Now, if Zach Ertz is out and we go look at his backup, which is probably going to be Demetrius Harris, if I had to guess. Darrell Daniels, I'm not touching, but I think it is worth a look. If Zach Ertz, it doesn't look like he's going to be out, but if he is, Demetrius Harris might be a play that you want to take a look at. So, Hawkinson's out, and you get Brock Wright, I'm sorry, who we've seen what he's done the last 2 weeks, gets 5 targets against Denver. Hawkinson gets banged up. Week 13 gets that touchdown. It was Detroit tight end touchdown day. So that's another cheap play to look at, even though I'm probably going to stay away. So hope this video did help, guys. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like and subscribe. If you guys want to join us and are interested in our plays, we do have NFL plays, NFL bets, NBA plays, NBA bets, and we have prize picks too. So if you guys are interested in any of that, I will have the link to our Discord in the description down below so you guys can check it out. Very cheap package. And yeah, guys, I will see you in the next video.